I put it like this. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook too, because I think people aren't using it the way that it was initially intended to be used. And that's just what it is, and that's with everything that comes out from a technology space. I love it from the standpoint that it's a useful tool to keep up with individuals and family members very easy. And a company is just a big company, and people who work for somebody like Facebook / Meta, they admire, right? Because you're working for a FANG company. You're working for a company that is very selective with their recruiting. You're working with a company or working for a company that recruits some of the best and brightest at some of the top schools and so forth, right? So when I hear about job losses or job cuts and they're cracking down on low performers, all I can say is this. God damn! Guys, Facebook employees brace themselves for job cuts as high as 10% as Meta cracks down on low performers in what one staffer says feels like a witch hunt. Our boy, Mr. Zuckerberg, man. I always look at Mr. Zuckerberg as somewhat inhumane, like, man. He almost has a alien look to him. Even in this picture, he seems like he's from a different planet or something. But the employees expect a significant job cuts amid new performance requirements and a tougher market. You guys have listened to a prior article that I've done on Meta, and this is what they're talking about. They're talking about they need to reduce their staff. They're tightening their belts. They are in a period in their business where they're not having the growth that they once had. They're making pivots to more of the Web3 technologies and so forth. And with the lack of growth in their business falling short of their goals and attainment that's out there for the market, they have to reduce staff. And a way to reduce staff is to make sure that people who are low performers no longer have a job. And this is not what just Facebook or Meta is doing. Other companies are doing this exact same thing too, which is the reason why I brought this article up, not to just talk about Meta, but to think about other companies using the same sort of tactic to weed out some of their low performers as well. Okay? So this is almost a catch-all in a way because other companies are doing the exact same thing. Meta employees are bracing for sweeping job cuts after recent comments from the executives suggested the company planned to significantly heighten performance expectations and transition out anyone who fell short. Guys, if you are a below average performer working for your company, if you are an average performer working for your company, you may be saying this relatively soon. God damn! Why will you be saying this? Well, you will be saying this because you might be getting the walking papers relatively soon. You may be getting the walking papers relatively soon. Meta's human resources chief, Lori Goller, sent a memo earlier this month suggesting cuts to employees who couldn't meet expectations at the company began to operate with increased intensity. Goller added that transitioning low performance out of Meta was the right thing to do. Guys, you already know companies like GE, Jack Welch, started this journey within companies every single year. They would get rid of the C players and so forth. Guys, that's life. That's the reality of it. And companies choose to do such a thing when they have people who come on to the company that are sucking resources but aren't putting any resources back, right? So I want you guys to think about yourself, where you are in your career and how much value you're adding. Because if you're not adding value because you're not passionate about the role, maybe look into making a career transition. If you need help with determining your next steps, book a coaching session with me, www.blkheights.com, www.blkheights.com. Career empowerment session works, a full coaching session works, and the prices are reasonable as well too. But consider that as you think about where you are within your career. If you are a person that's performing low, because there's always reasons why people are performing low. They may not like the job. They may not be part of the culture and so forth. There's reasons for it, but you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. You may need coaching, mentorship to rise above that. You may not just know what to do because you don't have anybody within your family who's worked for, corporate America and can give you the insights on how to be a productive, valuable employee for the employer you're working for and add value. You may not know that, right? So that's why we have options within the Black Heights community, within the Black Heights business, so that you can gain some insights by booking a coaching session or a mentorship session and so forth. So consider it. But cuts to headcount could be as high as 10% this year. A person with knowledge at the director level conversation said. It hasn't started yet. One employee told Insider about cuts, but it's coming. So they haven't started yet, but it's coming. Another employee described the feeling of a witch hunt at work in which engineering managers appear to be looking for people to cut as they suddenly and frequently mention performance expectations in team messages. Guys, you better build those relationships with the people in your companies. You better build those relationships and have a good working relationship with people. You better show your value. You better show up every single day. If you don't, you're going to be saying this. God damn. A different employee said Meta recently gave them an offer to leave the company. Essentially, negotiated a severance package. This person took the deal instead of waiting to be cut later this year. That's another way that they could be getting rid of you as well, guys. Severance packages. If they come to you with an offer of a severance package for them to cut ties, it's like a breakup, right? You might want to take it because they're only going to do that for people who aren't providing the value that they deem necessary for the company and for the go forward plans of the company. You might want to take it, right? You might want to take it. So if you get your severance package, your manager comes to you and start talking to you about this, you already know where you stand. And you're probably going to be saying this. God damn. The people who spoke to Insider asked not to be identified because they are not authorized to speak publicly about the company and their identities are known to Insider, but they don't have plans, or we don't have any plans for layoffs at this time, a Meta person said. But this is something that they're considering or going to be doing. Any company that wants to have a lasting impact must practice disciplined prioritization and work with a high level of intensity to reach goals, the spokesperson said. The reports about these efforts are consistent with the focus and what we've already shared publicly about our operating style. So guys, I'm gonna just leave it right there. Facebook and other companies are going to be tightening their belts. They're going to be tightening their belts. They're going to be tightening their belts because they're in a transition themselves and they want high performers to be working at their company. You're getting paid $300,000 a year. You're a high performer. You're just sucking resources out without giving any back, right? So think about you in your career where you are. If you're not having those one-on-ones with your manager, building those relationships, if you're not showing the value that you bring to the company, or you don't know the value that you bring to the company, you need to talk to somebody. Book a coaching session with me. Learn what the things that you need to do in order for you to get the visibility that you need so that you can have the upward mobility, so that you can gain the money that you want, so that you can earn the money that you want, so that you can live the life that you want to live and not have to suffer or not have to deal with the, live paycheck to paycheck and so forth. Booking coaching session. We'll be able to give you some insights on things that you can do to become a above average performer or an exceptional performer, because that's what we do here in Black Heights. And the majority of the members that we have part of this community, they're exceptional performers. Think about Brother Damien, who came on here, who just recently got the 48% increase. An exceptional performer, does things ahead, makes his manager's life easier and so forth. That's what we do. That's what we practice over here, because ultimately it's about getting to the bag so that we can invest in other areas of our life, buy time back, build businesses and so forth. So consider booking a coaching session. Also consider being part of the Patreon as well too, guys. All right, we're going to talk about one other article today before I have to cut out this morning. We're meeting some good friends out at the vineyard today. And we're going to have a good time.